It's been a slow month for movies, and I'm not paying $15 to see the 355, so I'm going to review some older movies that I've never seen before until now. Over the past year, I've been watching a bunch of Jackie Chan movies that aren't Shanghai Noon or the Rush Hour series, and some of them are pretty awesome, like the Police Story series and Project A, and unfortunately, some of them are pretty bad, like The Medallion or Operation Condor. The most recent Jackie Chan film I saw was Mr. Nice Guy, and I had never heard of this movie until about 2 weeks ago, and I was blown away by the fight choreography and stunt work. In Mr. Nice Guy, Jackie Chan plays a semi-famous TV chef in Melbourne, Australia, who crosses paths with a woman reporter who is running from drug dealers who caught her filming their illegal activities. Jackie accidentally gets a hold of her VHS tape of the illegal activities she filmed, and now he and those he loves are on the run from the mob. I'm gonna say straight up that this is not a good film based on traditional movie-making criteria. The acting is just awful, the storyline is generic, and there is zero character development. And the only purpose for this movie existing is to give Jackie Chan and his stunt team a reason to fall off roofs, dangle from moving vehicles, and dodge table saws. But the action is so awesome that I can forgive Mr. Nice Guy's flaws. Now, I'm not a stunt man, so I don't know the relative difficulty of certain stunts, and I also don't know which stunts are aided by wires and which are just Jackie Chan hanging on for dear life. Regardless of my lack of knowledge on stunt work, the action looks extremely dangerous and it is very fun to watch. The thing I love about Jackie Chan movies is that I feel like Jackie is in genuine danger, and it makes me cringe to think what could happen if he just made one false move. My favorite stunt of the movie that caused me to rewind it a few times is when Jackie is fighting the drug dealers on a runaway horse-drawn carriage in the city, and a guy knocks him over the side of the carriage. As Jackie is falling over the side, his feet are still planted on the floor of the carriage, and a bus drives by in the opposite direction, and Jackie catches himself by placing his hands on the bus and quickly moving them along the bus as it passes by, pushing himself off the bus to maintain his balance and eventually pushing himself back onto the carriage. That is seriously one of the most entertaining Jackie Chan stunts I have ever seen. Even though it's not his most dangerous stunt like the pole jump from the Police Story movie, I just thought it was so creative. Another scene I had to re-watch a few times was when he's fighting the bad guys in a construction site and he falls on a table saw, and the bad guy tries to push the wooden board he is on into the blade, and Jackie Chan is trying to back up while the blade is spinning and cutting through the board, and it's just like going right between his legs. On top of that, he then kicks a guy and then rolls over the spinning blade, which is just a few inches from his chest. Now obviously they took some safety precautions, but knowing Jackie Chan, he was probably in some real danger there. And even if he wasn't, it sure as heck looked like it. I think many of the stunts in Mr. Nice Guy are on par with his other famous Hong Kong films like Police Story, Project A, and Rumble in the Bronx. Like I said before, however, this movie has a lot of problems. The acting is terrible, and it is probably intentionally terrible. However, I don't know why they intentionally had these actors act so badly. Their acting is way over the top. It would have been much better if the actors played it straight, like if the criminals acted like real criminals and not like a bunch of clowns. Another thing that's really frustrating about this movie is that all of the audio, all of the voice work is dubbed over. And so even though all of these actors are speaking English, all of their voices are dubbed over and it looks really bad. Like, it's not like they're speaking Mandarin and they dubbed it over with English. These are English speakers speaking English and dubbing over their own voices in English. It's also really annoying because when they're in the fight scenes, all the bad guys are making really loud, dubbed over voices like, "Blah, blah, blah." It's just really silly. Another thing I mentioned before is that this movie has zero character development. Like, Jackie Chan plays a TV chef, but that has no bearing on the story whatsoever. He could have been anything. He could have been a plumber, he could have been a sitcom actor, an elementary school teacher, or a Major League Baseball coach. He could have been anything, and this movie would have been the exact same movie. They also mentioned that he was an orphan who was adopted by an Italian chef who he works with. I think he's Italian, maybe he's French, I don't know. But again, that has no bearing on the story whatsoever. It's just mentioned in passing and then we move on to the next fight scene. Regardless of Mr. Nice Guy's glaring flaws, I still loved it. So if you love Jackie Chan action comedy movies, then you will really like this movie. If you've seen Mr. Nice Guy, let me know what you think in the comments and I'll see you next time.